Hey, I'm Cliff.
And I'm Susan.
And we are back with the Cliff and Susan podcast with our guests, Michael and Presley Shipp.
Yes, welcome to the podcast. We love to do some interviews of entrepreneurs, creatives, musicians, artists, and I'm so honored to have Presley Shipp and Michael Shipp here with us today. How are y'all doing today?
Doing great.
Good, good. Well, we invited you because you had a big night at the Arkansas Country Music Awards, and we've known y'all for many years, and I just wanted to have a conversation and get to know Presley Shipp more, and also Dad, because Dad has a rich history in music and in the industry. And so I thought, before we jumped into Presley and all of her late accolades, I would love to just share Michael's story with y'all and kind of just ask him some questions about your history. Michael, tell us a little bit about how you got into music and some of the, I know I've got some notes as far as who you've worked with, but I think I'm going to learn a lot today because I don't know if I've heard the full story.
Yeah, me too. I've seen you kind of chumming it up with some big people that I was like, dang, he knows everybody, right?
Well, kind of, but it didn't happen quickly as usual. But I loved music when I was a kid, and I have an older brother. And growing up in Northeast Arkansas, not in Blytheville, not far from Memphis, in the 60s. Yes, I'm that old. But as an 8-year-old, I could pick up a guitar with a gift, probably like you, and just I could hear the Animals, the Rolling Stones, and tell all of the teenagers in the Beatle bands he was in how to play those songs. And they would come to me, and they put me in front of the electric phonic stereo to figure out how to play any of the hit songs back then, including Mustang Sally and all of that.
Yeah.
But then my dad had taught me, he was a big Johnny Cash, Ernest Tubb fan. And he knew the 3-chord stuff on the guitar. And he had taught me to play those chords, when I was 6, 7, and 8, and I figured out how to play every Luther Perkins, Johnny Cash lick there was early on. And fast forward to about 1968, Johnny Cash brought the Johnny Cash show to the Dice school gym auditorium, the whole show. And I can vividly remember my mom and dad telling my sister and I at the Ruddle Road Church of Christ in Blytheville to don't tell anybody we're going to see Johnny Cash. Now, I was 10 years old, I think, and we had no idea why we weren't supposed to say that, but it's probably because of that. Old June Carter was, whatever. But when I went, it was Johnny Cash, Carl Perkins, Mama Maybelle was still alive and played, the Statler Brothers. It was the whole entourage. And Johnny was very lit. I was in the little boys' room when he came in. And from that point on, I was going to play music. It was that serious of a deal, just to watch Carl Perkins sing Blue Suede Shoes.
I can imagine how much of an influence that must have been.
Huge.
There's a lot of people, me seeing my dad play when I was younger and, going to some concerts, but seeing someone as legendary as Johnny Cash and Carl Perkins, that had to be really cool.
So I spent the next several years just kind of woodshedding, and I remember I sold my horse when I was 14 so that I could buy my guitar, that old Gold Top that I've still got. I got it in 1971, and I started learning songs and got introduced to all of the blues rock players. I was also a huge Elvis fan, and was telling someone about getting to see him at Barton Coliseum in Little Rock. But I got turned on to the Allman Brothers, in junior high, and Johnny Winter, and Alvin Lee, and 10 years after was maybe my biggest guitar influence. When I saw him, once again, I'm not just going to play music. I wanted to be a guitar player. And then, of course, the ZZ Top influence came in, and Southern rock. And throughout the 70s after high school, we played in high school bands, and Billy Bob Thornton was our lead singer in the band. He was going to be Ronnie Van Zant. We met just after high school in the mid-70s, and we booked through a booking agent here. We didn't get the A-list gigs, their band did, but we got every back then you went and played high schools for proms and everything. And that's how you paid your dues and learned all of that. And still never got too many places. We had a band called Nothing Doing and the Shipp Brothers Band. And I owned businesses, or rental equipment business, from the time I was 19 in Benton. And we went to Houston in around 1980 and opened 2 stores there. And knowing that, we were huge Texas rock fans and ZZ fans and all of that, had no idea what the future would bring with that. But we ended up, Billy had he had moved to drums by this point, by the way. And he had gone to L.A. to try to make it as a writer and wasn't doing real well. And we talked on the phone, and he took a long bus trip from L.A. to Houston after I wired him the money to get there. And we started playing around there. And the very first gig that we played was at an old roadhouse in Houston that's still there, by the way, called Fitzgerald's. We were opening for some blues guitar rock, that was popular down there. And we opened for them, and these guys with suits walked backstage and said, hey, they looked at me and said, "You're who we've been looking for." Well, y'all have heard all of that before. We've heard it all before. Somebody going to make you famous, right? Well, they worked with Lone Wolf Productions. Well, we were savvy enough to know that was Bill Ham and ZZ Top's production company. And they went through this story of how ZZ was fixing to become the #1 band in the world again. To date this, they went through how there's this thing called videos and this thing called MTV that's fixing to really blow up. And they had already shot these videos in the can. As Lone Wolf Productions, their idea was to book the first ever ZZ Top tribute act, and they could book us all through Texas and basically the Southeastern Conference, and and it sounded great because I already knew how to play all that stuff anyway. We just had to learn it. They bought our clothes, and we did all this. You have to remember, you had Elvis impersonators back then, and there wasn't, like now you've got everybody being a tribute band. That wasn't happening in 1980 and 81. So for 2 or 3 years, we stayed busy. We got a small record deal, literally a vinyl record deal, and put out a record and did pretty well and got airplay down there. And that's when we were first introduced to the ZZ guys and became kind of pals with them. But after Billy won the Oscar for Sling Blade, that's when a whole lot more doors, and some of the pictures you alluded to and friends I've got now, that's when a whole lot of that happened, because the people that wouldn't open our letters before were now calling me to get through to Billy and stuff like that. And it worked great. And then I got to produce his music when we first went to Nashville and went on 2 or 3 world tours with his music. A lot of people don't know.
Was that under a solo project of his, or what?
At that time, it was a solo project, and it was just Billy Bob Thornton band, and I was the co-producer. And then we went on a world tour there, private radio and stuff, and some of the Universal Records and all that came in. She was born 2 years after Peyton was born.
So here comes Presley.
And that kind of took me off the touring for a while. And then in 2006, we, along with JD out there in California, we reformed this band that he's doing now called the Boxmasters. And we toured with that, and I went and did my own solo projects then, the Michael Shipp CDs that are
Gotcha.
out.
All right.
And Rooster Boy. Where did Rooster Boy come from? Tell him what Rooster Boy is. Is this another 30 minutes?
Hopefully not. I'll try to keep it
look
short.
at Presley.
It was in 97 or 98. Billy did a movie called A Simple Plan.
Okay.
Up in Minnesota. It's a great movie with Bill Paxton and directed by Sam Raimi. No. Yeah, maybe. I forget. It runs together. So maybe it will take 30 minutes. And so we, I was in Benton in about March of that year, and it was 80-something degrees, and Billy calls me and says, hey, do you want to come up here and play the rap party? We're going to finish the movie. And it was in Minneapolis. And I said, well, sure. And he says, I'm going to call Dusty Hill from ZZ, which, you know, he just said Dusty. I knew who Dusty was. And at this time, I hadn't seen these guys in years. And Dusty left Houston and I left here, and it was, like I say, 80 or 90 degrees. And we got up there, and it was like 10 degrees with 2 foot of snow. And we played the rap party. But the next morning after we arrived, Billy put us in a scene, the movie. It's a outdoor funeral scene. And we had to be dressed in the toboggan and the flannel shirt to look like Minnesotans.
Yeah.
And so there was an assistant director on the set that we could hear at a distance all the way across this pond yelling something. And as he got closer, he was yelling, Rooster Boy, Rooster Boy. It's because my toboggan was red. And so he finally came up to us yelling at me, and he was maybe 5'5", something like that. So he was, at my chest. And Billy stepped in and said, these are my friends, and it became, he didn't last.
He didn't know you were supposed to be in the scene, or what?
No,
what
he
just thought we were extras and he could treat you like that.
Yeah.
And I don't think he was around much longer.
He got let go.
Yeah. And so anyway, once everybody got a big laugh out of that Rooster Boy thing because of the toboggan I had to wear, when I did my CD to come out later, The Adventures of Rooster Boy, the people out there that did our websites and stuff, they just
took it and ran with it. Yeah, why not?
That, yes.
Yeah,
and it stuck. It's had its pros and cons. Yeah.
Well, that and Alice in Chains wrote a song about you. Here Comes the Rooster.
I guess so.
That's, I'm sure that was what that was about.
Probably was. Yeah.
Well, there's a lot that I wanted. I learned a lot right then because I knew there was connections. I don't know if I've ever asked you the full story, and I'm sure that we can continue to ask. But I do have a quote here where it says that where did it go? It said that Billy Bob Thornton once described your music as a lightning bolt out of Texas thundering through the Louisiana swamps. The internet somewhere said that, and I just thought that was cool. What was Billy Bob like as a musician? I know we know him as an actor, but what was he like as a musician? Is he like about?
He's a huge, excellent writer and a very good musician. He could play. He can play drums like Levon Helm. So he's not a big flash Buddy Rich kind of guy. Mm-hmm. But if you want a solid pocket drummer that'll figure out the part, the creative part, that's him. And he was always very good at that. And his singing, he's gone through phases of singing, and it's always spot on. We didn't have vocal things, tuners or anything back then. We recorded that one album at Arden in Memphis. You just had to do stuff the hard way, and if you needed to overdub or splice, it was with a razor blade with the engineer. And he's been an excellent musician all of his life. And honestly, and he may see this, but I always have told people if he could just be a musician, that's what he would do over acting.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, Presley, you had
here?
She is
Okay.
here. And I thought, I wanted to start with you, Michael, because the backstory here, and as father and daughter, I know y'all play music together. And so having the history of where, obviously, when we grow up with our parents, we're influenced by them and their dreams for us and just what they do. I know Cliff mentioned earlier that his father encouraged him. He was a guitarist. He's a guitarist. And so he got a lot of his inspiration from what his dad was playing. And my mom's still the church piano player. So that's kind of what inspired me to take piano. And I had 10 years of classical lessons. So first of all, congratulations on the Arkansas Country Music Awards Young Artist of the Year.
Thank you.
When they announced your name, what was going through your head there?
Well, the first thought in my head was I tripped over the lady sitting beside me, so I felt terrible. I think I stepped on her foot, and I turned around and said, like, sorry, and I was like, wait, I gotta get on stage. I don't have time for that. So, like, realistically, that was my first thought.
Yeah.
But them calling my name, I had that, like, I don't know, I had that anticipated, like, adrenaline rush kind of as they were listing all the nominees. And I was the last name called for the nominees, I guess, alphabetically or whatever. So I was still getting over that part. And then all of a sudden, they didn't give a lot of time before they just announced it, which is great, in my opinion. So then they just announced it, and I was like, whoa, okay. And it just all happened so fast. And I tried to get up there as fast as I could, but I was shocked.
Well, and I know you told your story about the turtle.
Yeah.
Really got a lot of. So tell people what you were saying about, because I want you to say that again, or just the story behind the turtle story. And you said something to me like you weren't going to do it, or you.
No, yeah, I did not plan on it. I think I was sitting beside him, and I told him, I was like, do you think I should mention the fact that Charles Hames sent me, like, pictures of his box turtles? And he was like, I don't know if you should do that. And I was like, I think I'm going to do it. But yeah, I went up on stage, and I mentioned how it was my first time being at the awards show and that it was all just such a great experience. And I mentioned my first impression of Charles Hames, who's the host / director.
Sure,
And he had friended me on Facebook along with other people that had to do with the show. And I had rescued a box turtle that was on the side of the road near my house. And it was such a simple day. I had just taken it and put it by the creek. And I took a picture of it or a video and posted it. And then Charles slid up on my story and was like, oh my gosh, you should see my box turtles, and just started sending me all these pictures of his pet box turtles.
We just rescued a box turtle, too.
Yeah.
Like, it's turtle season in
that.
Arkansas, evidently.
Yeah, the turtles have been everywhere. How many turtles does Charles have, though?
To this day, I'll still get little updates of these different sized turtles, and I'm just like, wow, like, this is going to be an ongoing, like, mascot for this entire ordeal. But, yeah, so I mentioned that in my speech, and it went over well. I think Charles got really tickled at it, so that was funny.
Well, did you say it, or did Jess Jennings say it? A turtle doesn't get on the post by itself. Did you see that? Jess Jennings said a turtle doesn't get on the post by itself. It takes a team. Somebody had to put it there. And I thought that was a cute little, like, dovetail off of the whole, Well, okay, so at what point, being around Dad and all of the music, I know you're in college right now, so we'll talk about where you are right now, but just when you were young, when did you know you wanted to do music beyond just seeing Dad doing it?
So, I guess I've always kind of had that, I don't remember a time where I was confused about music and, like, where it was coming from or, like, the point of it. There's a video of me, I guess I was 3 years old, and I'm holding a guitar, like, I think the wrong way, and just strumming out of tune and singing Baby Mine from Dumbo, and then I, like, throw it down and get up and run and say I want to see the video and stuff. But I really first remember him playing at Rob Denton's in Benton, because I guess my mom would kind of drop me and my brother off there, and we would kind of run around kind of like the manager's kids, because Rob was like a second dad to us at that time, and we'd be backstage with all the artists. We were probably annoying as heck, but I got to watch, like, firsthand everything that he went through just performing with that, and watching people show up and getting my hand shaken by people I didn't know, and I was like, I kind of like this. So I got used to it from an early age. And
Dad, did she have affinity to music when she came? I mean, I don't know, like, a lot of moms and dads can kind of see, especially when you're a musician.
Yeah, without being a helicopter type dad, she really did have that. I can remember she would always sing in the shower, the back part of our house where her bathroom is. And I remember Kim, her mom, my wife, lovely wife Kim, would primitive phone, might have been on a motor, I don't remember what it was, before smartphones.
record it.
she recorded, I've forgotten the song now, but it was her in the shower singing, and Kim brought it to me, and it's like, I think you need to listen to this. And she was probably 4 or 5, and I'm going,
Really? I was taking
that's
showers at
pretty
4.
special. Well,
That's already special.
you know, and I may be wrong about the age, because Kim would surely correct me if she were here, but the point was, she was in pitch. Everything was, it was factor.
Right.
And you could
right.
tell she had it. Then when she performed in the talent shows at school, starting at about the 3rd grade, I remember she performed Jackie DeShannon's Put a Little Love in Your Heart, and it had to be the tracks back then, but she knocked it out of the park. And you know, and her brother Peyton was equally blessed on drums and musicianship, and we had watched him 2 years earlier do that, so we weren't totally shocked, but we were shocked at the vocal ability.
Yeah.
Because I certainly don't have that, you know, and as much as I've sang, I've always told people if I would have taught her, she'd sound like Bob Dylan. So.
All right, so Presley, who are your biggest influences? I mean, I know that you're writing songs and you're releasing music, and so, you know, let's fast forward to current day with original music.
So, as far as songwriting, I really love poetry as a whole. That's usually where most of my inspiration starts, is just writing poetry about experiences that I've had. And sometimes the most, like, inspiration I get is when I'm traveling for some reason. I'm not sure why or where that comes from, but it just, I don't know, it's just something that happens. And whenever I first was, you know, introduced to all the stuff that he listened to growing up, like Johnny Cash and all that, I had that old-timey soulful music kind of stick with me. And so, like, still to this day when I write stuff, I have that, like, shuffle beat, you know, like in my head, and just, I really like that style of country, of like a story, basically, you know, not always just about the same old broken heart stuff, but like, I want to finish the song because I want to know what happens. I really love that stuff. But as far as influences, like, I mean, I'll say this a million times over, Elvis. I mean,
Yeah, of course.
I didn't name myself, but if I would have, I would have named myself Presley too. But yeah, love him, love his performances. Old gospel music. I love old gospel music.
So, and are you writing by yourself, or do you write with Dad?
Both.
Both. And so tell us about, I mean, whoever wants to answer this question, but when did let's do this as a duo and play together? Was it you were teaching her guitar and then it just started happening that way?
So, no, it happened, I first started taking voice lessons when I was in 8th grade, just to kind of get more experienced and everything. And with those came recitals, and I was like, absolutely not. You know, I was like, I do not want to do that. And then Sally, my vocal teacher, was like, well, it's part of it, you got to do it. So I think 8th grade, my first one was a Christmas recital, and I got up there and I sang Jesus Take the Wheel by Carrie Underwood, which I don't know why I did that, but I was so nervous because I was just singing to a track, and I remember being scared whenever I was in elementary school doing that for the talent show, just something about being up there by myself. And so I was like, I'm not doing this next year unless my dad plays with me, because
Awesome.
I did not want to just be up there singing to a track. I didn't think I sounded good. I was like,
I don't know if I could do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always had I mean, I was a guitarist or a musician before singer.
Yeah.
I never sang really before Susan and I started together. So I can imagine how kind of nerve-wracking it is to not have anything in your hands, don't know what to do.
Yeah.
It's like
Just focusing on all the wrong things. That's, yeah. But
So y'all started playing together.
yeah.
And he was
after
on
that-
guitar now. Are you playing guitar now?
Yes, I
Okay.
do play guitar now. I'm no Michael Shipp, but I can do some basics, you know, keep a beat type thing, so.
Awesome. So you're in college. Tell me a little bit about, like, I know you're doing music and writing, and we'll talk about production and all that, but tell us a little bit about what you're studying in college.
Okay, so to be completely transparent with you, I've never been much of a schoolgirl. I made good grades, I did all the sorts to graduate and everything, but I was never locked in my room studying for hours and stuff. So when senior year came around, I graduated, and I've always kind of had an idea of what to do, like communications. I've always been good at reading and kind of the AP Lit side of things. Definitely not math, but so I kind of went into Pulaski Tech just to do 2 years of basics, just to save some money and hit the communications route. But recently I've kind of decided to change that over to business so that I can really make sure I can get a secure job if music doesn't work out. And even if music does work out, business is a great education to have. So I think that's
absolutely. I was telling you whenever I asked you that question before we got on, and I think that especially in today's music industry, I'm sure Dad can agree with how things have changed drastically, and I feel like we have to know the business side as independent artists more so than ever. So I commend you on education, because I think that's really important. And I wouldn't say if music doesn't work out. I think when music works out, the business degree, and I was saying, when I started this podcast, we love to interview entrepreneurs. Well, I think that's what we are as musicians, because you write your music, but then you get out there and you start letting the world hear it, but then you become, if you're using your business savvy, you start figuring out how to monetize your brand, doing the live shows and all of that, and how to run your own business. Before a label will ever really look at an artist, they need to see a profitable business, quote unquote. So I'm excited for you and your school and all of that. So what's next with music? I know, and this happened to us when we won awards. It's like, okay, what now? And I'm like, oh yeah, there is a what now. And I think, something I've seen some of the when you make it, people say, oh, well, when you make it, and I'm like, well, aren't we making it now because we're doing what we love, so there's that. But I think that someone recently was talking about there's always a hill to climb, and when you get to the next hill, there's another hill to climb. And so I asked this question, not putting pressure on you, but just to say, has it motivated you? Do you have like another target for releasing music? Where's your head about all of this?
Absolutely. So I have been asked that question a lot, and sometimes I am like, oh, let me think about that. I'll get back with you.
Yeah.
But I think what we're going to work on is getting our song, Burning Bridges, and some other stuff. He's a great writer, and I really love his writing style. And if our plan is kind of for me to take some of his songs that he's done in the past with on his CDs and just me kind of make them my own. And then Burning Bridges is the one that we co-wrote together. We plan on getting that fully in the studio. We already have a video on YouTube and everything, but I have more ideas for
full
the sound.
band.
Yeah,
full band,
sure. More ideas for how it sounds, just more studio-like, and hopefully from then on, I don't know, just bigger stage and something. I don't know.
So when you said full band, do y'all have a full band that y'all have ready to go, or is that something y'all are working on to?
We do. We've had it. We haven't performed with it in a few months now, but her brother plays drums.
Yeah, that was going to ask about
piece
that.
Of cake.
Mm-hmm.
And one of her friends from church is a crazy great young bass player her age. So I'm the only old guy in the band, but they have to follow me. But it really works well for that. If we carry it much farther, we could add keys or something.
Sure.
Steel guitar.
If y'all know a keyboard player or something, or another fiddle player maybe.
Yeah.
Or,
Heck yeah.
Well, maybe we could join the band every once in a while.
Absolutely.
Well,
that's always an open invitation, regardless of what the lineup is.
Well, yeah, we'd love to work with you. And we were talking about how you're going to maybe perform a song for us today.
Yeah.
And I don't know, we hadn't even asked you what song it's going to be, so you can surprise us later. But
surprise us too, because we don't know.
Well, so you are staring down a really bright future, and I know you and Dad have worked together, and I think that I have a couple of questions that I want to ask y'all rapid fire just for fun. Okay? So before I get there, well, first of all, what's one thing your dad does on stage that still makes you laugh?
Still makes me laugh.
Uh-huh.
Gosh, there's a
Because
lot
I'm
of
sure,
things.
like dad,
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Oh, there's a lot of that. Hmm. So there's a part in the song that he wrote of Texas Ain't Far Enough, and there's a part in it where he like breaks down after the verse or the chorus or whatever, and like does a little laugh. Like it's like, I don't know which part is it. It's like
a laugh that's written into the song kind of
Yes.
thing. Yeah.
And he every time he does it, like depending on the crowd where we're at, sometimes it'll be like a full force laugh, like people actually turn, they're like, "What are we laughing at?" And then sometimes he'll go, "Ha ha," like not really trying. But every time he does it, it makes me laugh, and I do
that's
my little
cute.
eye roll. And it's like, okay.
Okay, so Dad, what's something Presley has taught you about music?
She hits the notes at times in different songs that goes places that I would have never imagined as the top singer that I am. I'll be sitting there playing and she will do something with one of those notes like I'm talking about, take it a song somewhere, and I'll tear up.
Oh,
And it
Not know this.
happens all the time. It happened when we played the outdoor stage at Benton's Third Thursday several months ago.
2 months.
I was a mess, and and Kim
well,
even
you're hiding
said,
it because she said she didn't know this.
Yeah.
I know, but Kim will tell you that one of the mothers of one of the friends came over and asked what was wrong with me. It's like, so it does happen, and it's taught me that happens, and I do not have control over it. You ask what's it taught me, that would be it. I don't have control over that.
Well, it's cool to hear, her interpretation of a song that you wrote maybe 20 years ago, and it's like hearing it in a brand new
Yes.
light. So
Yeah, I love that whole concept of it. And, if y'all are like me, and actually Billy and I had this discussion a couple of weeks ago on the phone, some of the best stuff you've ever written, lyric-wise, is probably some of the first stuff you ever wrote. And I still feel that way. That old vinyl record I talked about, it's dated, but the lyrics that I wrote as a teenager are pretty special to me, and they could be revamped even today. And they've stood the test of time, as in, which a lot of songs don't do that. So yes, that's
well,
all.
there was a, I don't know if you watch Rick Beato on YouTube. He's got a great channel and talks about. I mean, he has interviews with all kinds of amazing artists. But one thing I did disagree with, just because my personal experience is, and it's not that it's not true, because it is for so many artists when they're writing, is that you write your best stuff from the ages of like maybe 16 to 24, and that's your
In
creative,
your formative years, yeah.
that's your most creative times and your best writing. And looking at the Beatles and or Bob Dylan or Neil Young, or just so many of the artists that they were kids.
Younger,
they were
yeah.
kids when they were writing that stuff, and it's like that was amazing writing. But for me, it's been quite the opposite. I had to learn it over time and mature my writing. And, maybe it's just I'll look back on it kind of thing, but I feel like right now, my best stuff is what I'm writing now, and, maybe a couple of years ago.
Sure.
But it seems like it's getting better for me as I get older, instead of I look back and, man, what happened to my creative
Yeah.
Sure.
prowess that when I was 17, I wasn't writing until I was about 18. So
I think what you're describing, there's more of that now than what there's ever been. Because before, as I came up in the eras that I explained to y'all, the singer-songwriter type people, whether you were influenced by Christopherson or Billy Joe Shaver or Eric Clapton or the Stones, there was that aspect that a lot of people couldn't understand writing, and now it's almost taught. It's almost a college course to learn how to
yeah,
write.
well, we have a master class in all the greats now to look back on. And, it's like thinking back on all those songs from, you know, 50s, 60s, 70s era. It's like, you know, when Bob Seger wrote Against the Wind or Night Moves, like that's the first of those kinds of songs. Like that was a very original thing,
Yes,
you know.
yeah.
So now it's like we're forced to be more creative as we go, because it's like, well, we can't just rewrite the same song, so now we have to be forced to really be original and creative. But I mean, I think that's maybe where it is for me, because when I was growing up, it was just bubblegum stuff at first, you know.
Yeah.
I had to get through that era of my writing to be like, oh, not everything has to rhyme all the time, or you know, it can be a little bit outside of the box, and that's kind of what makes it better or cooler, or you know, stylistic for me. So
Can I do a turntable and ask you all a question?
well, sure.
Sure.
So I really like y'all's song West Virginia. I think that writing was incredible. So did y'all write that together, or did y'all like how did that work?
It was
We did.
mostly
We ended up
Cliff.
writing it.
I wrote a little bit of it, but it came from his muse, and
Okay.
so we do a lot of co-writing. But that one was, and he recently has been writing a lot by himself because the nature of our business, and
Yeah.
I'm so busy. So, like when we write our duets, I'm very involved. But that one was
Yeah.
mostly Cliff. I chimed in, so I got a little writer cred there. But I have to give props to Cliff on that one.
Yeah, West Virginia. That was just you talked about it earlier, is the traveling. You know,
the play on words. I love like all of that.
well, when I travel and drive, and that's when I feel like I'm some of my most creative, and so I just was bouncing around the idea of. I don't even know why I thought about it, but going West Virginia, talking about a girl named Virginia,
Yeah.
but then you're from Virginia, being a play on those
that's
words.
So smart.
I was like, how do I make that work? And I like how you said it earlier. I want to finish the song because I want to know how the story ends,
Yeah.
kind of thing. That's a really cool way to look at it. And I was like, how am I going to wrap that up and make it? Because I was like, this could be really cheesy if I don't do it right. So, it ended up coming out how I guess I
Great
wanted
job.
it to. Thank you. And
I see a co-write in our future. I think.
that'd be cool. We love a good co-write, and but just like you. I mean, it's the story. I think getting away from everything having to rhyme and everything having to be a set thing. I was like, that was one that I was like, it just needs to be a good story.
Yeah.
So
We also will be. It's a lot of road time, so a lot of just thinking. I think honestly, when you're in the road, anywhere you're not with your device, I feel like your brain allows yourself to download and start like having those creative thoughts.
Yeah.
But when we're in other moments in life, we're focused on other things. So. You know, I think the thing about us is that we do go down the road, but we also have a notes, and we always come up with like ideas for songs, and we have notes, and so then we will be more methodical later about, okay, well, let's sit down and write this one, and we're writing a full album next, and we want it to be danceable, so we're thinking about the melodic and musical grooves that will make people want to dance, and then the music and lyrics are kind of coming after that in a way. So
we have a lot of drive time coming up. We're about to drive to California with our 3
little dogs,
Little heathen dogs.
I told him the content on socials will probably be more dogs because we have no idea what we're about to get into with our 3 dogs going down the road. But
that's 20
we do
something
have
hours.
a song
So
about 3 little dogs.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just as happy as I can be with my 3 little dogs and my woman and me. That's the little hook of it, but
Yeah, so
it'll be a
that
little
one's going to
duet.
be danceable too. So, all right. So last rapid fire, and then we're going to get to this song you're going to perform
All right.
first. All right. So Presley, favorite country artist, and look, this is a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Let me rephrase. One of your favorite country artists.
One of my favorite country artists.
First one that came to mind.
Well, I don't.
Give me 2 or 3 then.
Okay. Chris Stapleton is
Okay.
great. Love him. Also very inspired by Tyler Childers, his writing style.
Yes.
I just saw your cover of Jersey Giant.
Yes.
That was very good.
Yep. That's
a great
one.
song.
That is a great one. I wish he would release like an actual version of it, but it's okay, Tyler. Forgive you. But also, I love my classics. Alan Jackson. George Strait's great too.
It's hard to pick one. I know that wasn't very
Yeah.
fair,
Yeah.
was it? Okay, one of your favorite non-country artists.
Non-country.
Yeah.
Maybe like a deep cut even.
I hope y'all can pause and edit this because I gotta think about this for a second.
It's
You
okay.
know it was going
It's
to be a
all
quiz
right.
on your life.
Yeah, no. Someone that maybe we don't
Well,
give enough credit to, or not everybody listens to. What's someone that comes to mind?
When I'm not listening to country, I'm usually listening to my Christian radio type
Okay.
music. A huge inspiration, actually, this was an answer to your previous question. Ann Wilson, huge, love her so much, but she is country, and she's also Christian. She's probably one of my biggest inspirations
Awesome.
right now.
Awesome.
But non-country, probably gonna say like, love me some Lauren Daigle, love me some Matthew West. But that's stuff I grew up with, so that might be a little biased. But yeah, I don't really have any names, but yeah.
Okay, well, last question. Song you wish you wrote.
Oh, I always think about this.
One of them. It's not the only one, but just the first one that comes to mind.
So, a lot of Tyler Childers songs I always think about. There's one called Tattoos. I don't know if y'all have heard it, but it has very distinct writing, and I don't know, sometimes I'm listening to it and I'm like, that was clever. I wish I could come up with something like that.
Cool.
But yeah, there's 1,000 more out there, but we'd be here forever. So.
All right. So, Dad, I'm going to move along. Thank you. I put you on the spot, didn't I? Dad, favorite guitar?
Of mine or just any guitar?
I think either. Let's do both. Favorite
Yeah.
guitar that you own, and then one that, you know.
And one that you wish you had.
Yeah.
Let's
so
do that.
One you own and one you wish you had.
My favorite guitar that I own was a 1963 Epiphone Frontier acoustic that belonged to my dad. And every song I've ever written, whether it's rock, blues, or whatever, it has a neck much like a Les Paul. It was back when Epiphone was a big brand. It has real elephant ivory back then in the early 60s. They could use it on the binding and stuff. And 14 karat gold. He kind of lucked into it at a Memphis dealer. So that's my pride guitar, and I carry it out sometimes and play it at shows and stuff. As far as my favorite all-time guitar, while I'm known to play the old gold top Les Paul of mine, that's a 68, my favorite is the ES 335 hollow body Gibsons.
Yeah.
And
Those are
any
awesome.
color, I don't care.
Well, then I'll have to. Now it's not a 335, but after we're all wrapped up here, my favorite guitar that I own is my grandfather's 1959 Gibson ES 330. So I'll have to let you check that one out. It's an incredible guitar.
It is an incredible guitar, and I used a 330, a 64, on my Crow Loudly CD a lot. Love them. Had P90s.
Yeah, that's what this is. The old dog ear P90s. They're so nice.
Yeah.
All right. So, and your one of your favorite studio sessions that you will remember always.
Wow.
One of. Doesn't have to be the only.
My favorite is, as a kid, I had rearranged I Still Miss Someone by Johnny Cash into a crazy little way that I played it harmonically when I was 10 or 12. And fast forward to the late 90s when Billy and I went to Nashville. We were at Ocean Way, and that was one of the songs we were going to do. And Johnny Cash had became a big fan of Billy's due to a couple of the movies. And the people that ran Ocean Way in Nashville, his granddaughter was the receptionist. And anyway, Johnny agreed to come on and do, in 2002, I think, the recitation at the end of this. He was unhealthy enough he couldn't sing on it. So we met out at Encino, which is the studio that's featured in the Jackson movie, Michael Jackson movie that's out now.
I have not watched that yet.
It's good.
That had belonged to the Jacksons, of course, but now Gary Bells owned it, who owned Ocean Way, and his family's from Memphis, the Peabody Bells, and great folks. And he set it up out there, and Johnny and June came to the studio.
Wow.
And Billy and I, and you know, Billy's doesn't get nervous about much, and frankly, I don't either. But probably after staying up for 30 straight hours and maybe drinking too many Bud Lights, at about 5 that morning, Johnny was going to show up at 8, and one of us looked at the other one and said, "What if he doesn't like it?" And that hadn't dawned on us this whole time. And so I sat there in the studio, and him and June were on a couch similar to this one, and I was over there, on another chair or something, and they did the playback in the studio loudly of it.
Yeah.
And June had her hand on Johnny's leg, and Johnny sitting there, and he listened to the whole complete song. The most I could get out of it was they were tapping their hands.
Oh, I bet you were
Hey.
nerve-wracking.
And after the song, it seemed like a 2.5 hour pause, but it was
Yeah.
probably 15 seconds. And he looked at me and said, "I like what you did to my song." And I'm thinking, I can go home.
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
Man,
you know?
that's I got
So-
chills listening to
Yeah.
it. So that's pretty
incredible.
awesome.
Telling it. And he lived about a year past that, you know, and June didn't live that long. But they were the grandest people. They were exactly like you would have thought they would be. And that definitely rises above anything I've gotten to do, whether it be with
I could imagine.
Yeah.
Dickie Betts or Gibbons and them or whatever. And I love all those guys, but I was amazed in Nashville, even back then. You know, you had the Sun Studio. You had Elvis, Jerry Lee, and Cash kind of up here. And when we went to town, to Nashville, there was a lot of artists that agreed to come and just sit in with us. We were having like a big Sly and the Family Stone kind of event doing it. Anybody that wanted to come by. And I could go through a whole list of folks that did. But when Cash said he wanted on that song, all these other artists, the 90s country guys and stuff, it's like Cash is up here and George Strait, for example, is down here, and he was the king. You know? So it's like, regardless back then, Cash was well above anybody else. They all just, it was like seeing the old mayor in the, you know, if Secretariat walked in as the
Right.
racehorse, all the other horses would scatter.
Well, I think King George would still call Johnny Cash king.
Yes. Yeah, graciously he
Yeah.
would. It was like that. And Brooks and Dunn have, obviously. So I knew Cash was Cash, but I didn't know how much Larry Gatlin and all these guys, and, you know, Christopherson, who did the Highwaymen, he was in awe.
Yeah.
You know, and certainly never has said he never felt he belonged there. But I got to witness that firsthand,
That's
and
awesome.
it was really mind-blowing. Another 30-minute story.
No, and we could continue to go on and on. Y'all, I'm so excited that y'all are here today, and I got to learn a lot, and I'm excited about your future, Presley.
Thank
and
you.
and I would love for you to tell people where they can find your music, and you know how best, and what would you want people to do right now to kind of follow along with your journey.
Yeah, so I have an Instagram account. It's just Presley Ship Music. I post a lot on there. I have YouTube and stuff too. Sometimes I forget about YouTube, honestly. But when we get our music out, it'll be on Spotify, anything we can get it on.
Under Presley Ship, and that's
yeah.
with 2 P's, right?
Yes, Ship 2 P's.
Well, thank y'all so much. We're about to kick over into getting you set up to play some music for us tonight. We're honored to have y'all, and so thank you, Michael, for your
Yeah,
stories.
it's been a great-
Appreciate the
We-
opportunity. to
Great
come
guest.
we
here.
need to
It's
come
been
on
awesome.
back and talk about more stories with Dad. I love it. I'm sure you probably have heard them all your whole life, but
I comes one ear and out the other.
well, thank y'all. Well, we'll head over into the
Yeah.
musical segment, and y'all, you know, stay tuned to our Cliff and Susan podcast. You can find it everywhere on all the streaming spots. You can find our music under cliffandsusan.live, but definitely go out and check out Presley Ship's music.
I don't know all the reasons you are the way you are. You say you've got it figured out. You always were so smart, but there'll always be another girl coming around here when I'm gone. And trust me when I tell you, she don't know what she don't know. 'Cause you keep burning bridges till you've got no place to go. The people you keep hurting are the ones you need the most. The flames keep burning higher 'cause you keep lighting fires. Now you're at the mercy of a storm. There ain't no bridge, there ain't no road, and there ain't no place to go. I always heard the rattle just before you'd strike. I learned I had to stay one step ahead of the bite. I've learned that you've been scheming on your next big plan. You wanna hear the music, but you never pay the band. 'Cause you keep burning bridges till you've got no place to go. The people you keep hurting are the ones you need the most. The flames keep burning higher 'cause you keep lighting fires. Now you're at the mercy of a storm. There ain't no bridge, there ain't no road, and there ain't no place to go. They tore down the old station, they even took the track. They took away the old gray engine, it ain't never coming back. 'Cause you keep burning bridges till you got no place to go. The people you keep hurting are the ones you need the most. The flames keep burning higher 'cause you keep lighting fires. Now you're at the mercy of a storm. There ain't no bridge, there ain't no road, and there ain't no place to go. There ain't no bridge, there ain't no road, and there ain't no place to go.